Thanks, Gonzalo, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Maybe we can start off just by doing a quick introduction of yourself and your history for the audience.
Oh, yes, thanks, Dom, for inviting me to this opportunity. Well, I'm Gonzalo, original from Uruguay. Okay, live in Brazil now for 25 years or so.
Wow.
Okay, I worked in a big CPG company, Unilever, for more than 35 years. And as I always say that I did every position in an IT department that you can imagine, with the exception of the global CIO. So I did local roles, regional roles, global roles, everything. Okay, so
it's
yes,
fair,
that's my story.
It's fair to say, if there's somebody's got a little bit of IT experience in consumer goods, it might be you.
Yeah, maybe 35 years plus. Actually, I started with 5 years old. That explains why I spent so much time in this. But yes, I had quite a lot of experience in this area.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, today we're talking obviously about trade promotion management, TPM, and I imagine you've had to deal with that through your career as well. Would you mind just giving everybody a little bit of an overview of why I imagine everyone knows why it's so important, but what are the common challenges you saw in your career through doing TPM type projects?
Well, yeah, yes, I did TPM type projects many times. So TPM, or trade promotion management, is one of the hottest, if you want, topics in any CPG company. If you think, the amount of money that CPG companies invest in promotion is huge. Okay, billions of dollars in companies like Unilever, Nestle, Procter & Gamble. So you are talking about how to manage or better manage that investment that year after year is going up, up, and up because the customers are requiring more investment. Okay, so the big question in the CPG company has always been, and more in the recent years where the margins started to squeeze, is how we can obtain more return on such investment that we know that it will grow. Okay, and we are talking about billions of dollars. Okay, and the way you invest that money depends a lot on the markets that you are active. If you go to a developed market, that can be Europe, or let's take UK for example, or US. You have big players like Tesco, okay, Sainsbury, Walmart. You have a very well detailed planning. Okay, so you discuss all promotions well in advance. You have a much more smooth flow of merchandise going to the stores than in an emerging market. In an emerging markets, this is more day-by-day battle. Okay, so the dynamics of the markets are really different. So the first, yes?
I was say, in your career then, did you see that the approaches to TPM were very different throughout the world? Because I've always said, it's my belief that it seems like it has been in the past a complex, expensive project to try to implement this, but maybe for some markets can afford it, maybe other markets different.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. The problem is, in essence, the way to manage a promotion is the same. Doesn't matter if you promote to a customer, a store, or a channel that has a lot of customers. So the complexity of a promotion, the complexity of calculating all the KPIs that you need for a promotion are the same. The problem is that sometimes it's so sophisticated that you need really complex systems behind that are way too expensive in markets that they cannot afford that. And there's a huge debate in the company of how to make this process more efficient and how to make this process cheaper to implement. Okay, and I'm not talking about system, I'm talking about process, because as always, when you have a tool, the complexity of implementing a tool is not the technology only. You have all the human factor. Okay, how people can change, how you can make people's life easier and not more complex. Okay, if we think that a promotion may have, for each promotion 50 KPIs that you need to calculate, okay, you can make your sales reps' life miserable if you want. If you ask them to calculate every other of the KPIs that you need from a financial point of view to manage a promotion. So the big question is how to simplify that. Yeah?
Totally. I was going to say, because I have a fond memory of when we were doing a lot of preparatory work and you're an advisor to Aforza, and we were looking at some sample spreadsheets and things that people gave us about how they manage promotions. I mean, you said 50 KPIs, and it's like, that's not
more
information, it's more. And it's like, you said, I'll never forget this, you actually said to me, you were explaining one to me in all the different fields and what they meant. It's like, what person could actually, process the 50 fields and do their job And
That's the point.
it gets silly after a while, right?
Yeah, that's the point. And I'm pretty after project, we tried in my previous job to simplify the life of the guys. In the recent years, people realized that the best way to simplify the sales rep's life is to do part of the job centrally in a shared service or something like that. So system changed dramatically and are changing from asking everything to a sales rep to ask the minimum to a sales rep, send that information to a center, they do all the calculations, or a robot can do all the calculations. Go back to the sales rep, yes, I approve, it goes to the manager, approve on that. That is where there's a lot of investment, and I think the company is investing.
Yeah. And do you think in today, what we are observing, obviously we're talking during yet another pandemic, global crisis, lockdown thingy, which is just when you thought the world was getting halfway back to normal, we'll just go do it all over again. Kind of crazy. But I also noticed, like I'm looking at some brands out there, or some companies are launching new brands. Even during these times, even when some of their staff are furloughed, they're still trying to push the brand, trying to place products on shelves and things. And the question I have in my mind is, when you saw in the past, people trying to do trade promotions, was there a facet of all this where you needed like day-to-day agility in days gone by? Did you have
yes, and now more. That is the biggest, one of the other key topics, okay? Yeah. So in markets that you can plan well in advance, yes, you plan the next quarter with Tesco. That's fine. It's frozen. But the dynamic of the market is different. So many times you need to react or to your competition or to opportunities. Let's read the pandemic, for example. I never seen so many launches in CPG than during this last month, okay? A huge, big brands reinvented themselves and started, especially in high nutrition, when you think about some brands that were only selling, I don't know, shampoo, and now they're selling shampoo, soap, alcohol, whatever. The amount of launches and the speed of launches is crazy. I've never seen this before. That means that you need to have a well-established promotion process to introduce all these new products in the market, okay? And that is dynamic. So you cannot only plan this quarter, you need to be more dynamic. And for example, one thing is to say I will promote one product in Walmart or in Tesco. Another thing is say, well, I will need to react to my competition that put a special price in ice cream, in a beach in Greece. I want to promote my bars in that beach in Greece. How can you deal with that? Systems are ready to promote for channels and to promote for customers. But I'm not sure that all the systems are ready to say, give me all the customers that are around this specific point, and I will send to them a special promotion now because I need to react now. So that's a huge point that I'm sure that people are trying to talk about, to solve it.
Gonzalo, one of the things you said a few moments ago, which I totally agree with, it's not always about the systems. Obviously, I'm in the systems business, and I'd love it to always be about the systems because that's my job, and we can be good at that. But some of these concepts you're talking about, that's new to people. Maybe people are used to doing promotions to channels or promotions to accounts. But this idea of dynamically defining things like everybody within 1 kilometer of the beach or whatever it is you decide to do, that's a business change, right? And I think you made some remarks about sometimes that could be the hardest thing. Do you have any advice for people listening and about how to approach business change?
No, the point is that is, I think that I started to see that happening. We always talk about doing such things, but you always have the channel policies and you say, oh, I cannot screw my customer because if I promote in 1 kilometer from the beach, I might be interfering in the, so it's very, to do such type of things, you need to be very careful. But you need something to allow you to do something. You need to group customers' products in a very dynamic way, okay? And the system that I know until I meet you guys was always, if you want, fix it. So you can have clusters, you can have channels, you can have, but it's a hierarchical. And all systems have hierarchies, which are pretty fixed, okay? So if you have an engine that allows you to group customers, stores, products in a more dynamic way, almost online, will allow you to promote in these specific cases, which the previous systems never did. So For me, the advice is try to see how you can construct an engine that can group people's or products in a more dynamic way than the traditional hierarchies.
There could be a lot of people on this call. Aforza, we are talking to prospective customers, some of the biggest companies in the world, you know who they are, but also many companies that are ambitious, young. They may be doing revenues of $100 million or so. That's this type of thing, even less. They might be doing promotions on spreadsheets and working with ERP systems. And they're probably trying to think about how to scale up. What advice would you give these kind of companies or anyone who is not automating the promotion processes today? Why do they have to do this? Why do it at all?
Yeah, that's a good question. If you have a startup that you are a small business that you are managing with the spreadsheets, you might think, okay, that is perfectly doable. I don't need to automate, I don't need to invest. The problem is that the pressure on your margin, I'm pretty sure that it started to appear. Okay, the margins of the brand manufacturers are going down. That is pretty obvious. Okay, so the complexity to start managing promotions start to raise, and you need to have some engine of artificial intelligence behind that can start to telling you which are the promotions that you need to do. So in the past, you have 3 or 4 tactics. It was easy. You have 3 or 2 options to do a promotion. Anybody can select between 2 or 3 options. But going forward, you will have many different tactics, many different ways to promote things with very different results. It's almost impossible for one person to analyze all the data that will be allowed there and take the right decision. So you need to automate that to have the data that allows you to put an engine of artificial intelligence that start to send you insights of which is the right promotion at certain time for certain product.
Brilliant. Thank you, Gonzalo. And thank you again for spending time with us. And I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Take care.